And we are back. Welcome back to another Champions League video. After a night where the two main stories were once again Napoli and Club Brugge. Firstly, Napoli, who have now not only not lost since April in all competitions, which is an incredible achievement in itself, but they have quite frankly thrashed three teams in this Champions League group. Liverpool, Rangers and now Ajax. Winning 6-1 away from home at Ajax is an incredible achievement. And then secondly, obviously we have Bruges, who despite being favourites to finish bottom of that group, have now successfully beaten Porto, Atletico and Bayer Leverkusen to sit on 9 points while the rest of them are on 3. They were not the only stories last night though. There was an awful lot of VAR drama last night, not least in the Inter Milan-Barcelona game where 2 handball decisions went to VAR and went against Barcelona. It's just a shame for those Chelsea fans that VAR wasn't around when the reverse happened and Barcelona were the beneficiaries of some controversial handball decisions. And I would be remiss if I didn't talk about what happened in the Porto-Bayer Leverkusen game, where Bayer Leverkusen appealed for a handball at one end, Porto counter-attacked and scored. VAR then went back and gave the penalty to Bayer Leverkusen, meaning the Porto goal didn't stand. And then Patrick Schick missed the penalty. Absolutely unbelievable scenes, all because of VAR. But in my opinion, the right decision made the majority of the times due to those VAR decisions last night. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the ones that you saw. And let's see what all of last night's action did for our prediction series. So, these were the games that went ahead last night. These were the predictions that I went for, and these were the results. And to be honest, as always, I've not really got too many complaints about the ones I got wrong. I spoke about the amazing achievement it was for Bruges. I've already spoken about the controversy in the Inter Milan-Barcelona game. As for Tottenham, I just think Frankfurt defended very, very well in the things that I saw. Tottenham probably had the better of the game, probably should have won, but some great defensive work from Frankfurt meant that it ended 0-0, and I feel like that was a fair result. And yeah, a couple of disappointing ones in terms of didn't quite get the scoreline right, but at least we got the result right, meaning that it was a second 5-pointer in a row, meaning that we now move up to 26, which I still think is a very good score so far. Let's see what is going to happen in Matchday 3, Day 2. As always, please let me know how you got on as well, and let's get into those predictions. So, we start with Salzburg taking on Dinamo. I think this can be a tough one to call. I would favour Salzburg heavily in this one. I think Salzburg have a very good team. Dinamo have proven that they are no pushovers this season, but I would still expect Salzburg to get the win with Sesko on fire once again. I am going to go for a 3-1 win to Salzburg, but it would not surprise me to see Dinamo get a result once again. The second game in the group, arguably the biggest game on the night, sees Chelsea going up against AC Milan. And I think this would be a much tighter affair if it wasn't for the fact that more than half of AC Milan's normal first team is out injured. That puts massive emphasis on Chelsea to win this one. Chelsea having a lot of injured players potentially returning for tonight's game as well. They're in desperate need of a win, and I think they are going to get it. I'm just going to go for 2-1, but like I said, I would change it if AC Milan had a lot more players available to them. On to the second group, and we start with Leipzig up against Celtic. Again, a tough one to call. I think it's going to be a tight affair. Leipzig have not been performing so well this season, but at the same time, Celtic haven't even been doing that great in Scotland, so I am going to give it to Leipzig for the second Red Bull game in a row. I'm going to go for 3-1. So I am going to go for 3-1 to Leipzig in this one. And then on to Real Madrid against Shakhtar. I can only really see this going one way. Shakhtar obviously put in a great showing against Leipzig and then managed to get the draw against Celtic. But Real Madrid are just oozing with confidence right now. They are winning games fairly comfortably, and I would expect them to do the same against a relatively weak Shakhtar Donetsk side, in my opinion. I am going to go for 4-0 to Real in that one. Speaking of thrashings, we then move on to Manchester City and FC Copenhagen, and if Man City keep up the form that they've been showing recently, this is only going to go one way. I'm going to go for 5-1. I can see City scoring an awful lot of goals, but I still see them conceding. Like they tend to do, they have still been leaking goals this season. So I think 5-1 is a fair result. If you think it is going to be more, or if you think it is going to be to nil, as always, you will let me know in the comments. And the tougher game in this group sees Sevilla going up against Borussia Dortmund. Two teams that have been very inconsistent, but have tended to be good in their home games. So, with that said, I'm just going to edge this one in Sevilla's favour. I'm going to go to 2-1 to Sevilla. Again, I think all three possible results are available in this one, so it would not surprise me one bit to see Dortmund get the draw or the win. But like I said, Dortmund's away form has been very poor in all competitions this season, so I'm going to give it to Sevilla. On to the final group of this game week then, and we start with Benfica up against PSG in a game that I think could be very, very tight. I spoke last time out about how good Benfica are at the moment. PSG, I don't think they're going to be caught napping. I think they're going to be more than prepared for this one, but I can see it being a very tight affair. I think I still have to give it to PSG, though, because of the quality they have available to them and the form that Lionel Messi is in at the moment as well. I'm going to give it as 2-1 to PSG, but again, it wouldn't surprise me to see Benfica pull off another result in this one. And finally, we have Juventus up against Maccabi Haifa. Maccabi have been putting up some good resistance in the games they've played so far against PSG and Benfica, and Juventus have not been particularly good in the Champions League or in Serie A so far this season. So I'm not going to give Maccabi the thrashing that I have done in the other two predictions. I'm just going to go for a 2-0 win to Juventus in that one. And that is going to be it for today's video. As always, let me know down in the comments what you think is going to happen today. Drop a like if you are enjoying this series. Subscribe to the channel if you are new around here, and I will see you again very, very soon.